Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Jules Onuk, and hi, welcome to another episode of Enigma by Jules, and welcome to True Crime Jules. If this is the first time you're seeing my face, hi, welcome, and I'm so glad that you found me. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel and like this video, share this video if you care, because it will mean a lot, and also turn on your post notifications for this. I have red lipstick on. I don't really use the red lipstick because I'm more of a nude girl or whatever, and then my locks are laid down, and it's just, I love my locks so much anyways. Yeah, I think that's enough rambling. So guys, so today's case we're actually going to talk about the Btk Killer, because like I'm like, what is this case? Please, somebody please talk to me. This case was a wild one, and he was not known till like several years later, and people actually did not know that, oh my god, that this was the man that was torturing women and girls in the United States at that time. So let's picture this, yeah. A serial killer, he manages to like get away with like dozens of crimes and murder, no, basically murder, dozens of murder that he's committed over the past 3 to 4 years. Like authorities, investigators, like they're all baffled as to, wait, how come we cannot find this person, if that makes sense. Like they're like thinking, like they're going back to their drawing board, and they're wondering like, how can I find this person, like what's going on? And this person is just there living his life, having a family, having children, having wife. No, let me just save the best for the last. So this guy, his ways are very smart. Like he's literally very smart in what he's doing, but everything is going okay. But then again, like when the police don't credit him, like when they discredit him or they arrest somebody else because of the crime he does or he did, he gets so pissed off, and then like he turns the media, he turns the police, and be like, those people that you're arresting, they're actually not the perpetrator, they're actually not the criminal. I am the person. This is what you found at this crime scene, that is what you found at the crime scene, so I'm just telling you that you arrested the wrong people. So the guy was too smart. He did his things like very meticulously, and then all of a sudden he just goes quiet, he just goes mute. There are no murders, there are no murders, there are no violence against women, there are no criminal activities. And then the police is like, okay, I think maybe he's dead or something. However, out of nowhere, like let's say, like, you know, 3 to 4 years he's committing all these crimes, he's committing all these murders, committing all these harmful things against women especially, and also men too actually. But his main I feel like he just took the men out to just get to the person he actually wanted. He was very calculated. After like 3 to 4 years of doing all these things, he kept low for like 10 years, like a decade, and then all of a sudden he springs. So this is the story of Dennis Rader, or Rada, I don't know, Rada, who was just a very useless man. I know I say that a lot in my cases, but some of these people, now all of them, they're all useless. They're for the streets. Actually, the street is better. Dennis was born in 1945 in Pittsburgh in Kansas, and he was one of 4 children. So his parents always worked a lot, and that means that they had less time for their family, for their children. His parents were really workaholic, and this just made his parents like spend little to less time looking after their children. So Dennis Rader, he would later claim that because his mom, his parents, they lacked little attention towards them, that because of the lack of attention that his mom had towards him and his siblings, that it actually made him hate his mom so much, like he resented his mom. So from a young age, as we see in most of these serial killer cases, before I go on, this case contains animal cruelty, sexual abuse, all those bad stuff. So basically, Rader, as a child, he would spy on women dressing up, and then he would kill animals, like little animals. He would capture and kill little animals. He basically would just do all this 101 beginner guide on how to be a serial killer, if I'm making sense. He fantasized about torturing and trapping women even as a child. He would watch women get changed and have their bath, like dressing up. He would watch these women dressing up, which, if you ask me, that is, you know, most serial killers that actually kill women because of their bodies, like that is what they, most of them, that's what they do as a child. Like we have a lot of them. Like we've heard a lot of cases that I could say at the top of my head. I've forgotten the name at the top of my head, but like I know their stories. However, Dennis Rader, he was known to the public as, you know, a well-mannered child, a well-mannered guy, a well-mannered boy, because this act of his, even though he was young at this time, he just knew how to keep this act of his as a secret and keep it away from the public eyes. You know, some of these serial killers, as a child, their parents see that and they just think that, oh, he's just a child, and they are kind of concerned. But even as a child, Dennis Rader, or not like really as a child, even as young as he was, he knew how to keep this part of him away from the public eye. So he was very conscious about the fact that he didn't want people to know this side of him. Sorry, I actually use my hand to talk, even in real life. So Rader, he graduated from high school, and then he even went into university in Kansas City. But then again, he dropped out from school, and then he enrolled in the Air Force from 1966 to 1970. Please, someone should tell me, why is it that like most of these serial killers, not most, okay, like some of them, actually most, they are always in some of Navy, Army, something. Like this is just a pattern. Like, I have a friend in the army. I know she was not like that, but like they're always in the army. Like they'll drop out of school and they'll be like, oh, I want to do something, and then they end up in the army. Like, why is it just me? Is it just me? Because like I've always realized, but like with time you're like they always enroll in the army. Like, why? Anyways, let's go. After he left the army in 1970, he moved to a suburb in Wichita, and there he studied electronics, and he obtained an associate degree in electronics. This was in 1973. So my man went to University of Wichita State University. What am I saying? My man went to Wichita State University, and in 1979 he actually got a degree in administration of justice. Quite ironically, can you guys imagine? So during this period, he got married to his wife. His wife's name was Paul with an A at the end, and Diet. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. That was his wife's name, and then he went ahead and he had 2 children. So later on in the interview, like when he was caught, like his daughter said that, see, she never ever seen her dad to be a serial killer, and minus that, like they were like every normal American family. So the last thing she ever thought was that her dad was going to be a serial killer. She was like, I never saw my dad being a serial killer. So everything just came as a shock, because like I said, this guy literally was living a double life. So let's go into the murder spree. So his first victim were a family of 4 called the Oteros family. So this was done in January 15th, 1974. So the victims, Joseph and his wife Julia, as well as their 2 children, Joseph Jr. and Josephine, were killed by Dennis Rader, and they were either suffocated with a plastic bag or tied with a rope. The 2 adults were in their 30s, while one of the child was 9 and the other one was 11. So their bodies were discovered by their other 3 children, who went to school and came back and saw the body of their parents in their room dead. So there was another murder in April 1974 when a woman named Catherine was actually stabbed with a knife, and then suddenly everything was just calm. After Catherine Bright was killed in 1974, Dennis decided to wait for like 3 more years. So like in 1977 he killed 2 women by strangulation. So he killed Shirley Relford and Nancy Fox, and like I said, he killed them via strangulation, unlike Catherine Bright, who he killed by stabbing. So we know that most serial killers, they have one mode of killing because that's what they are comfortable with, and some of them may not want to try the modes of killing. But when it came to Dennis Rader, we saw in the Otero family, he killed some of them with plastic bag over their head, strangulation. Catherine Bright, he stabbed her with a knife, and Shirley and Nancy, he strangled them. So if we can see that there's no particular pattern to the way he actually did kill them. So despite the fact that it was just one person that was responsible for all these murders, the police did not like did not link this whole case to one person. Instead, they thought that it was different people that actually committed this crime. It was not only until this stupid guy called Dennis actually sent a letter to the media claiming that he's the one that was actually responsible for the death of all these people, and especially for the Otero family. So this just created a whole frenzy, because the town of Wichita, the town of Wichita, they were paranoid, because they're like, oh my god, we actually do have a serial killer on the loose. And not only did they find out that, oh, they had a serial killer, they found that this serial killer is so self-obsessed that he doesn't want anybody to take credit for the crime. And also, he actually named himself the Btk Killer. So it's not like it was the police that, most of the time it's always the police that is giving them name, or the media that is giving them name. No, this serial killer, he actually told people what he wanted them to call him. So he gave them the name the Btk Killer. So I know you may be wondering, if you don't know this case, what's the meaning of BTK? So BTK actually means blind, torture, and kill. So this guy called Radar, he continued to send letters to the media and the investigating authorities, and then he was like, yeah, I'm the one who killed these people. And then according to him, he said that not only did he kill these people, that he feels that there's a driving force that keeps telling him to kill these people, and this driving force is supernatural, and this driving force is called Factor X. God help me. And this driving force is called Factor X. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I'm like, reversed, and that's X Factor anyways. And he believes that it's this driving force that is also motivating serial killers like the Hillside Strangler and Jack the Ripper to actually commit their crimes. His next kill was in the year 1985. Here there was a 53-year-old woman named Maureen Hedge, and he killed this woman. So let's go into a more personal life about this Dennis Rader. So Dennis Rader, he was a member of the Lutheran Church. Not only was he a member, he was also elected to become president of this church. So basically, like, he was seen as by people as like maybe a mentor. I'm sure he had like mentees, people under him. I'm sure there were people that actually looked up to him and wanted to be like him. So like, he was living this perfect godly life outside. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, he was killing people comfortably. Like, I don't know. This is why I don't trust people. This is why I don't trust people, honestly speaking, because like, even personally, I've seen people who carry religion on their head, and in their private life, there's something else. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but like, I feel like I kind of know where to cross the line, if that makes sense. In their private life, they carry religion on their head, and then like, they do things they accuse other people of doing, and sometimes you just can't really trust people, because like, shall able be whatever they want to be. So Maureen was killed by Dazi, 53-year-old woman, was killed by him obviously, and he killed her via strangulation. And not only did he kill her and just leave her there, he took her body to his church, and then like, he positioned her in objectifiable ways, you know what I mean, like in degrading form. And not only did he position her that way, he also took pictures of the way he positioned her. So this guy does not even fear God. Like, you killed somebody and then you took them straight to your church, and then you basically took pictures of them. Like, what can you do worse than that? In 1988, there was another set of murder. It was the Fager family, Fager. I don't know if it's Fager or Fager, I don't know how it's pronounced, but it was the Fager family. I think it's Fager. So it was the Fager family that was murdered. And when this family was murdered, the person or the killer actually put a note and said that it was the BTK Killer. But then it was not believed that it was the BTK Killer, because one thing about the BTK Killer, he was so self-obsessed and absorbed. It was a case that if the police arrested somebody else in place of him, he would call the police and be like, you guys are arresting the wrong person. So the BTK Killer, he did not say that he's the one that killed this person, this family. So even though the person put the notes, the authorities don't believe that it's the BTK Killer. They just think that he put it there saying that it's the BTK Killer because Obviously everything was relying on the BTK killer. Everybody was looking at the BTK killer at this point, and he just wanted them to not look at him or her or whoever the killer. Look at them. Let's just use the general pronoun. But like I said, one thing about the BTK killer, he never discredited or said that he did not kill or commit any crime, because like we know, he's very self-absorbed. So he did not say that he's the one that actually committed that crime. So the BTK killer, he will go ahead and have two other victims. So he strangled a 28-year woman called Vicky Lynn, and then he also strangled a 62-year-old woman called Dolores Davis. So these investigators, like I said, like right from the 1970s, they've been trying to, you know, fish out this perpetrator, and this guy was just having fun with the police and the authorities. And the authorities, like I mentioned earlier, they were not able to, you know, find out who this person is, who the killer is, and they tried everything possible. And this just made, as usual, it always gives them extra confidence. So at this point, at 2004, he was busy taunting and like literally playing with the authorities and the media and the people in the Wichita state. So he sent a series of like many communications, like 11 communications, and he sent them to the Wichita local newspaper. And also one of these series of communications I actually sent to the local newspaper, one of them had a return address, and this return address was located to a man called Bill Thomas Killman. And it's just so funny because the initials of Bill Thomas Killman, it was very convenient. It very conveniently translated to BTK. I don't know where he found the man, because that must have, maybe it was his church member anyways. Okay, I forgot to tell you guys that Vicky Lynn that he killed, the 28-year-old girl that he killed, the police had not like relayed the crime to the BTK killer. So he actually told them, he sent a letter and he claimed that the murder was that of the BTK killer. So when he said that the murder was part of the BTK killer, and in order to prove himself that yes, he was the one who murdered these people, he actually sent a picture of Vicky's driver's license to the police. And then the police, when they got Vicky's body, they checked under her fingernails to see if they could get a DNA sample of maybe the perpetrator. So they did everything possible, but they didn't find any DNA sample of, you know, the perpetrator. This idiot, oh god, I really don't like cursing people, but like sometimes people deserve to be cursed. This guy called Dennis Rader, he was taunting the media and he was having fun. So basically he actually sent out like other clues of evidence that the police were likely going to look into, and he sent them to, you know, the media, the television, to newspapers, and he even taped one to a roadside sign to show you guys how much this guy wanted attention on himself. Like, he wasn't even going to even flake. He wanted the whole attention on himself. However, despite everything that he did, like, none of this actually led the police to the BTK killer, which was sad. Him taunting the media and the police just made him think that, oh, that he was on top of the world. I don't know if you knew, but there were groups of officers that were put in place to, their job was just to catch the BTK killer. And this group was led by Lieutenant, I really don't know how to pronounce that name, by Lieutenant Ken Landwehr. Sorry, people have names that I really don't know how to pronounce, and I'm so sorry if I don't pronounce it well. So the head of this crew was Lieutenant Ken Landwehr. I don't know if I pronounced it well. I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing it well. So like I said, after he sent like this many hints and everything, he was so stupid enough. So he sent a letter to Ken, and then he asked Ken, he was like, see, I'm about to send you guys an evidence via a floppy disk, but I want you guys to assure me something, that floppy disk will not be traced back to me. So the police, obviously, he is so stupid. Oh my god. Like, how would you, a serial killer, think you can trust the police and say, oh, I'm about to send you guys evidence, but you have to promise me first of all, will this be traced to me? And obviously the police said, no, I promise you it's not going to be traced to you. And he was like, okay, then I'm going to send you guys an evidence through a floppy disk. So this guy, Dennis Rader, he actually sent this floppy disk to a TV station, and he also sent the novel Rules of Prey, which was a novel about serial killers. Even though this was 2004, like, we know that, oh yeah, in 2004 technology is not as strong as it is today. And let's be honest, even as at now, the technology we have is little compared to what goes on in the police station, their own means of technology. I feel us is more limited to what they have. So at that time, 2004, imagine when 2004, like, technology was not really advanced, but it was more advanced for the police station. So the police, they had the technology to trace a metadata in the floppy disk back to the person, or back to the owner, basically. Even though, like, normally in today's time, you could take your phone and Google, can a floppy disk be traced back to me? But then 2004, internet, I don't know if it came out by then or it was just fairly a new thing. So if you understand, like, then, even though, like, I don't think like there were enough things on Google, so maybe that's why he actually trusted the police. But at the end of the day, he should have known that, number one, the police technology is more advanced than ours, if we are going to be very sincere. And since the police technology was more advanced, obviously they could trace a metadata in a floppy disk back to the owner, or back to the person who sent it. This floppy disk was traced to the Christ Lutheran Church, and it was the last person. The police were able to get the fact that the last person that was on this disc was traced to a guy, was modified by a guy named Dennis. The police, they were now able to connect the church to Dennis Rader, and this is when they found out that he was the church president. So he was a person of interest at this point. So the police, they had actually surveyed his home and his locality, and unbeknownst to him, he actually did not know that the police, they were at his back, they were watching his daily moves. So as he was doing this, they spotted his vehicle, and this was the vehicle that they saw that was dropping all those hints in Wichita. So they spotted his vehicle, and then they went behind his back to take the DNA of his daughter. Back in 1986, they had collected the DNA of the killer in one of the bodies that the person had strangled. With the consent of his daughter, they asked his daughter if she could submit her DNA for them to, you know, check and like rule her dad out, which she did. The killer and the daughter had the same DNA, which was not specific to the daughter but specific to the person in the family. And this is how they just knew that, yes, they found their killer. So in February 2005, they found Dennis Rader driving towards his home, and they finally arrested him. So initially, this man did not accept to his crimes. He said that he's like, I'm sure he was like, me, I'm a president of a church. How do you think that me, I will kill people? I'm being set up. I did not kill them. I'm sure that what was telling the but it was like, we have everything pointing you to being the killer. And I'm sure he was like, you know, defending himself, saying that, oh no, he's not the killer. And they were like, okay, you're going on trial, because during the pre-trial he pleaded not guilty. So they took him to trial. But when he went to his trial, he pleaded guilty during his trial. And when he pleaded guilty, he confessed to all 10 murders that he had committed during his time. And people actually believe that he committed more than the 10 murders, to be honest. I watched his trial video, and the way he described this murder, like, he described it like he was so proud of what he did. Like, if you look at the way he described, I'm going to put the link down, I'll put the video anyone's. I don't really know the copyright rules on YouTube, so like I always try to kind of avoid putting on this, but I'm going to put the link to the trial for you guys to watch later. So I watched the trial, and he was basically, this man was proud of his thing, and he described in utter detail the things that he actually did to the victims one by one. Like, when they asked what about this person, he'll be like, I did this and I did that, and I did this and I did that. He'll be like, this person, I did this and I did that, and I did this and I did that, like, with no remorse and anything. Anyways, he was sentenced to 175 years in prison, and that is where he, obviously we know he was not going to live to 175 years. He was going to die. And it's just so funny, because like, I'm against the death penalty, yeah, but I believe that some people deserve it. Some people deserve the death penalty. I'm against it because I'm against it solely because like some innocent people could be killed. That's why I'm against it. And I feel like they should also find other ways to torture people. Like if it's someone like Dennis Rader, I will put him in solitary confinement for that 175 years, and he's only going to go and shower like once a week, and it will be guided. Then he would receive fresh air like maybe 10 minutes in the whole of 24 hours and then thrown back into the solitary confinement. If I was that person, if I was the judge, that's the punishment I would give. I think that's the worst. I think that's worse than death, to be honest. Because death, you can just die. But I think that's worse than death. If I was a person, if I was a judge, that's what I would do. Honestly, I'm not wicked though. I'm not wicked. I'm not wicked. But at the end of the day, like that's what I do. Because some people deserve real punishment when it comes to the crimes that they've committed. So this man called Dennis Rader, he was actually diagnosed by a psychologist as someone who was extremely narcissistic. And not only was he narcissistic, he also had obsessive compulsive personality disorder, and he was also antisocial. And he somehow had this belief that he was special and greater than any other person, and every other person was lesser than him. So that's why he really didn't even give any remorse or give a flipping fuck about like other people that he killed. Like he killed people mercilessly. You know, when he asked the police and was like, wait, am I going to be caught if I give you guys a floppy disk? And the police was like, no, you're not going to be caught. Can you guys believe that this guy was like, see, I didn't expect the police to lie to me. I didn't expect Ken to lie to me. You guys betrayed me. The police are doing their job, and you think they won't lie to you to complete their job? Like, please make it make sense. Anyways, this guy was arrested and he was in prison where he will spend the rest of his life till eternity. So guys, let me know this case, if you guys enjoyed this case or enjoyed the review of this case. Sorry I made this case very short. This case is actually a very long case, but I made it very short because like I have limited time and I'm going somewhere by 4:30 and it's 4:22. So I just decided to like make this case very short. But like I'm going to put sources in the description box where you guys can click and watch and read if you care. And thank you guys so much for stopping by, and thank you so much for watching me tell this story. Share this video if you care. Please share this video. I really do appreciate. Subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel. It will really mean a lot to me. And thank you guys so much. And till next time, till next week actually, because this is a weekly thing, you know. Till next week, thank you so much and bye.